In some areas of southeast Texas tonight, the floodwaters are receding. In others, the water is still rising. TV6's Steve Asplund talked with an Ishpeming man now living in College Station, Texas. And although he's 4 hours from Houston, he and the company he works for knew they had to do something.
This scene has been repeated thousands of times in southeast Texas. In the last 7 days, hundreds of volunteers have reached out to help. One of them is Casey Hares, a former Ishpeming resident. He now lives in College Station, Texas, 4 hours from Houston. On Sunday, when floodwaters swallowed Houston, Casey and his colleagues at Lucco Ranch Pond and Lake Restoration couldn't sit back.
When you know that there's still people out there that need help.
Early Monday morning, they arrived in the Houston suburbs. Casey says within 40 feet of where they launched the boats, they'd be picking people up and filling them to capacity. He says they rescued newborns, infants, the elderly, and were basically an ambulance on water. They also picked up pets. He says they'd have 7 to 10 animals each trip, from lizards to dogs. Their boats went where there was a need.
Just taking out our phones and plugging it into Google Maps, and then just driving down the street on an airboat and getting up to the door and knocking on the door.
He says their flotilla of 14 boats rescued over 2,000 people in the 3 days they were in the Houston area. They slept in a fire hall one day, a church the second night. He's proud of the people he works with and what they did. But what he was seeing was unbelievable.
Running down the street, and every now and then you may feel a little bump, and then you look back and you see the top of an F-250.
Casey is back home tonight. He says it's an adrenaline rush when you spend 16 to 20 hours a day rescuing people in a desperate situation with nothing to their name.
Easily the most gratifying work I've ever done in my life. And I say work, but it wasn't work. It was us just doing what we should do.
Steve Asplund, TV6 News.